Hello guys and welcome back to our EAFC 24 career mode. We are here with Juventus now, of course. Our major rebuild got underway in the previous episode. If you haven't checked it out, definitely make sure to go back and watch. But we're starting off today's episode with the news that Randall Kolo Muani is heading off to Newcastle for £85 million. So our transfer budget now rises even higher to £240 million. And I've still got quite a few players that I want to bring in to bolster the squad, and we're also now going to have to replace Kolo Muani. And we've also had an interesting bid here from last year's champions, Napoli, for Joel Linton. Now at 33 years of age, and I do quite like Joel Linton, but we've got a lot of depth in that midfield area. Napoli were the champions last year as well. So it would be like when we were at the Blades if Man City came in for one of our big players, kind of when we were trying to establish ourselves. I'm going to negotiate with Napoli and see if we can strike up a deal. So I'm not quite sure how much Napoli would be willing to pay. Now, obviously, we don't necessarily need the money per se with the money that we've got in the bank account at the moment, but for £24.5 million, I actually think that's a decent sale. 33 years of age now, Joel Linton. And he is very, very well-rounded. He probably doesn't suit playing deeper. He's more of a box-to-box. But you can see he's already got his attributes starting to decrease. If he was a couple of years younger, I'd maybe be more inclined to keep him. But you can see rapidly he's starting to decrease in stats. And we've already got the likes of Bellingham and McKennie, De Jong, Fagioli, all in that midfield position. So I don't mind letting Joel Linton leave. Now, we're obviously going to have to replace Randall Kolo Muani, and I've got quite a few names on the shortlist. But for me, there's one man that really sticks out, and that is former Juventus man Dusan Vlahovic. Obviously, we've already brought back Federico Chiesa, and I mean, this man just looks like the ideal fit for that lone striker role. We know that Arsenal have Lois Openda at the club as well. So Dusan kind of vying for that striking position. Whereas here, coming back to Turin, he knows he's going to be the main man. He's not really the kind of player that I usually use. He's not the quickest. Obviously, the agility and the balance is low, but he is absolutely deadly if you get him in front of goal. I've never really used him before, so I'm going to try and bring Dusan back to Juventus. So with the money we've got, I'm just going to go straight in with an £80 million offer. Ooh, they want quite a bit of cash for him. And I don't really blame Mikel Arteta. I'm going to go in at £85 million. And wow, they're not budging on that 107 million. I really didn't think we were going to have to pay that much for him. 87.5 for Dusan. Okay, a little bit more than I wanted to pay, but we've got the money in the bank. We may as well spend it. So there we have it. The big Serbian is back. Dusan Vlahovic back in Turin, and I'm absolutely buzzing with this. We paid a little bit more than I wanted to, but it was only 10 million over the market valuation. 29 years of age and still in his prime, and I'm really, really looking forward to using this man. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin was the main man at Sheffield United, and Dusan Vlahovic gives me similar vibes. Good in the air, but a cracking finisher as well, and I'm really, really looking forward to get Dusan involved in the club. Big money spent to bring him back. So with Joel Linton seemingly likely to depart the club, I do feel like I want to reinvest in that midfield area. And the one sort of profile that I feel like we don't really have is a real out-and-out holding midfielder, which may come in handy in the bigger games. And Rafael Onyedika is a player that we looked at when we were at Sheffield United before signing Ibrahim Sangare. And with him becoming available on the market, I think this deal makes sense. So Rafael Onyedika is in on a 90 grand a week 4-year deal, and with Joel Linton departing the club now at 33 years of age and Onyedika coming in for 40 million, I think that's a really clever bit of business. As I mentioned, he's a profile we don't really have at the club at the moment, a real hard-working defensive midfielder. I really love the high stamina. He's good defensively and good on the ball as well, and I think he's going to be a really important addition to this this squad? Well, I'm actually just going to go ahead and make two very quick signings, and you may remember these two players, Gabriel Collins and Nathan Jackson, two young Canadians who came through the Sheffield United Youth Academy system, and I said to keep an eye on them as we may end up seeing them again, and as they're not really established players in the Sheffield United team, I'd quite like to bring them with me and see how they develop, so we're going to bring them both in. So both Nathan Jackson and Gabriel Collins are in. Not the highest of overall players, and I was tempted to send them out on loan, but with the small squad that we've got, I think I'm just going to keep them here to develop them this season, and both of them could get some minutes, as I do like the look of them both. Low risk involved in both deals, as they were both signed on such low fees, and we also managed to get rid of Garafani in the Nathan Jackson deal as he heads to my old club Sheffield United. So we've just had confirmation of the Joe Linton deal going through. Didn't get the animation for it, but he is heading to last year's champions Napoli. Obviously, we've already signed our replacement in Rafael Onyedika. We've got 2 days left in the transfer window, and with 122 million still left in the budget, there are a few players that I'd still like to sign. And I think one more raid of my old club, Sheffield United, will see me through to the end of the window. So I don't want to completely gut my old team and ruin their squad, but I have to say there are a few players in this Sheffield United squad that I'd like to bring with me. We had such a thick squad there that I don't feel like I'm dismantling the team too much. But Nilos Kaya is the absolute perfect fit for that backup striker role. Obviously, we brought in Ambrosini, but I see him as more of a third choice. And in a system where I'm playing with one up top, I like to have three sort of strikers that I can rely on. Obviously, we've got players in the squad that can play there, but I really think Nilos Kaya is the perfect fit to play second fiddle to Dusan Vlahovic. So looks like we're going to be able to strike up a deal, and Nilos Kaya, who was such a revelation in our time at Sheffield United, is going to be coming with us to Turin. I'm really happy with this signing. He's still growing at just 21 years of age, and for £30 million that is an absolute steal. He's always going to be a backup at the Blades behind the likes of Calvert-Lewin and Wahi and Archer and all the attacking talent that we had there. So I think to come to Turin with me, following in the gaffer's footsteps, I think he's going to get a lot of game time, and we're going to see Nilos Kaya develop into an absolute animal. You look at those finishing stats, and he is so deadly in front of goal and absolutely rapid. And speaking of Sheffield United players, well, I've got quite a few names on the short list here for that centre attacking midfield spot. But there's only one man that I want to bring with me, and that is Harry Matthews. I want to give him a second chance. Obviously, he was always second fiddle to Luka Sucic at the Blades, and he did submit that transfer request a couple of seasons ago, which still will be valid. Only 22 years of age, 85 overall, and still loads of room to grow. I think Harry Matthews in this team could nail down that starting spot and really develop into one of the world's best attacking midfielders. I think the system suits him really well. I think the league will suit him really well. And I want to give Harry Matthews a second chance. Let's bring him in. Now, like I say, Matthews did submit that transfer request, so I'm hoping we're going to get him close to the market valuation. And they actually want Rafael Onyedika, who's just signed, which is not going to happen. 57.5 million, and yet we have a deal. Not sure if that's Erik ten Hag that's replaced me at Sheffield United, but Harry Matthews finally getting that transfer that he so wanted. He never had an issue with me as manager. He just wanted to play more, and I've promised him that in Turin he's going to get more game time. So for £57.5 million, we have our man Harry Matthews, a 5-year deal on 100 grand a week, and I really do think this is the perfect fit for Harry Matthews. I've said before, when you're doing a long-term career mode like this and you get youth players who really kick on, you want to keep them with you even if you leave the club that they came through. So Harry Matthews and Nilos Kaya joining us in Turin, and I am buzzing to have Harry at the club. I also think he can play on the left-hand side in this 4-2-3-1 system. Obviously, he did come out of the Blades Academy as a left winger, and we converted him to an attacking midfielder, but it gives us depth and quality across that front line. Really happy to have Harry Matthews at the club. So we're into transfer deadline day here, and with just 25 million left in the budget. Look at how much money we've spent. We've done a Chelsea and a Todd Boehly and just spent an absolute fortune. Not sure we'd get away with it with the financial fair play rules, but we have bolstered the squad out to 30 players, and we've got a lot more depth now as well. There are a few players that I'm going to bring in just to bolster out the squad that little bit more on transfer deadline day. So let's go and make our first signing. So with Garifani now leaving and Szczesny retiring at the end of the season, I do want to bring in a backup goalkeeper to play in the cup competitions this season. I've just seen that Aliu's actually departed to join Chelsea, which is quite sad to see. But the man I'm going to bring in is Sebastiano Desplanches. He's currently out in Spain at Rayo Vallecano, but I reckon I can get him for under 20 million. He's on pretty low wages, and at 26 years of age, he's still quite young for a goalkeeper. So I'm going to go in with my first bid close to the market valuation. Yeah, I reckon we can get him for around 18, maybe 18.5 million pound. Yeah, 18 million for Desplanches. I think that's a really good deal, and he will be our backup keeper here for the whole time that we are in Turin. So Desplanches is in for a relatively cheap fee of £18 million, and as I say, at 26 years of age, he's still quite young for a goalkeeper, and I feel confident to bring him in between the sticks for the cup games, and if anything were to happen to Diogo Costa. So one final signing on transfer deadline day, and it's a free agent, Vincenzo Longo. Decent little squad player, 75 overall and 19 years of age. Sat in the free agents pool, so I decided to pull the trigger just to bring him in as an extra bit of cover. But I think that is finally us done for this summer transfer window. Well, guys, that will do it for transfer deadline day and this summer window as a whole. It has been absolute madness, with £252 million raised from player sales and 495 million spent on new signings, with 17 new players joining the club. It has well and truly been a proper rebuild here in Turin, and I am exhausted after recording all of this. You can see the top deals on the right hand side. Benoit Badiashile heading back to Chelsea after leaving in this save. Amin Adli is off to Union Berlin, and Malik Diaby leaving the Blades to join Hoffenheim. So yeah, that will do it. We've really managed to flesh the squad out. We've got a lot more strength. We've got a lot more quality in depth as well when you look in the reserves. And I'm really happy with the squad that we have built here. What a summer transfer window it has been. That is probably the craziest summer transfer window I've ever had. So after that crazy transfer window, we've made it to match day 2 of the Serie A season, and it's time to see how well this new group of lads we've put together actually perform on the pitch. We're away at Udinese at the Blue Energy Stadium. Let's see how we get on and see if we can pick up our first 3 points since moving to Turin. Forza Juventus. So we didn't get off to the greatest start with that 1-1 draw in our first game of the season against Fiorentina, but I'm hoping now that we've fully got our squad assembled, we'll be able to kick on and pick up a bit of form. It might take a bit of while for everything to sort of settle down with the new team, the new players, but I'm hoping we'll be able to push for the Serie A title this season. Jude gets something in the way of that, and again, but it falls back to the home side. Oh, and that's nicely worked, and Costa with a good save, and still alive, and there's the opener for Udinese. And I thought we might be bailed out by Diogo Costa, but it wasn't to be, and the home side take the lead. Matthews into Jude, now De Jong out to Duranville. Nice feet, and waiting for Parisi on the overlap. Nice feet again, and now De Jong, and Bellingham in support, and it's Jude Bellingham, and it's 2-2 for the Englishman. And our captain levels it up right before the half-time whistle. Well, I'll be honest, we didn't create a huge amount in that first half. It was just that one chance for Jude Bellingham, which he tucked away, that has us back on level terms. But yeah, struggling to really get into an attacking rhythm, and I guess we've got a whole new look front line. And it may take a bit of time for them all to gel. Here's Duranville. Back to Vlahovic. Tight angle. And it's a good save by the Udinese shot stopper. Vlahovic just keeping the ball around the edge of the box. And it's Jude Bellingham from range. Oh, it's so close. Good put in by Koundé. And Jude can bring it away. And I'm really enjoying using Jude Bellingham so far in this Juve team. And there's Bakayoko. Back to Jude Bellingham. Oh, what a hit. 3 in 2 games for Jude. And he really is him. He is the man. And Jude Bellingham is running riot in Turin. Jude Bellingham with him. Bellingham doesn't get there. Still Zaraga. Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, what a save by Diogo Costa. And that may potentially be enough to win us the game here. Corner's floated in. Bakayoko clears. Only as far as Krau. And now McTominay back to Krau. And we can't clear and Krau again. Denied by Costa. Corner into the near post. Koundé flicks clear. Matthews doesn't get there. Bellingham does. Oh! And it's so scrappy. And Udinese have a late equaliser. That is so scrappy. Matthews doesn't get there first. Bellingham gets something on it. Costa then keeps out the initial effort. And the follow-up is slammed home on the rebound. And Udinese look like they've nicked a late point. And yeah, there is the whistle. Disappointing not to come away with all 3 there. And yet to win since moving to Juventus. 2 draws in our first 2 games. And I feel like it should definitely, or could definitely, have been 2 wins from our first 2. Gutted to have been held again here. Well, disappointed with the draw, but we just need to move on to our next one. Before we get there, Lecce at home. We've got the Champions League draw, where Juventus back in the competition after finishing 3rd. Oh, interesting group. Stade Rennais, who we faced before when we were at Sheffield United. Villarreal, which will be a tough game home and away. And RB Salzburg as well. We should definitely make it through the group, but I'm definitely looking forward to that. So we'll play a few more games to close out today's episode, and we're returning back to the Allianz Stadium as we face Lecce after a pretty slow start to the season with 2 draws from our first 2 games. Need to put things right and pick up our first 3 points here. Forza Juventus. So we've spoken so much already in these first couple of episodes with Juventus about the number of players that have come through the door, the big overhaul of the squad, and I'm sure it will take time for everyone to gel, but hang on. Oh, Jude, I overcomplicated that. We do need to start seeing some results pretty quickly as well, and with how overpowered form is in this year's game, I don't want to keep the wait for our first win going, and I'm certainly looking for 3 points here. Reads that, and Bellingham didn't get a shout, and that's nicely worked. And Diogo Costa forced into the first meaningful save of the game at his near post. Bakayoko checks back and finds Matthews, and now Vlahovic, and it's opening up for Dusan Vlahovic. He forces the save out of the Lecce keeper. De Jong will swing the corner in, looking for that near post, and Duranville is brilliantly denied by the Lecce keeper. Still tied at 0-0 as we search for that breakthrough. And now Bakayoko with green grass ahead of him. And Bakayoko will use the run of Bellingham to come inside. Still Johan Bakayoko opening up for him. And tipped over the top by the Lecce keeper. Parisi will swing the set piece in, looking for Duranville. And Bakayoko will get there first. Good feet from Johan. Swings the ball into Bellingham. Oh! Jude Bellingham. 4th goal of the campaign. And that is the pick of the bunch. That is outrageous from the Englishman. Bakayoko does well down the right. Swings the cross in. And Jude Bellingham, give him the Puskas award already. That is phenomenal from the Englishman. That is Cristiano Ronaldo-esque at Juventus. It's nicely worked across to the edge, and Costa will claim. There is the final whistle, and we do pick up our first 3 points of the campaign. Just a single 0-0 victory, and the goals still aren't flowing. It's Jude Bellingham once again, and this time we do pick up all 3 points. That's exactly what we needed. Right then, we'll close out today's episode with our away trip to Cagliari. Finally, good to get those first 3 points on the board, and we're looking to continue that heading into the final game of today's episode, Forza Juventus. So of course, happy to have picked up the win in the previous game, but it wasn't what I would call a comprehensive victory, and I'm looking to make sure we win pretty comfortably today and make sure we stay close to the league leaders at the moment. A little bit of a gap starting to appear after our slow start, and we need to make sure we pick up all 3 points here, and Costa forced into a good save early on. Bellingham, brilliant, wins the ball back. Matthews with Dusan ahead of him, looking for that first goal since returning. And Dusan finds the net. I said when we signed him, if you get this man in front of goal, he will finish. First assist for Harry Matthews since joining, and Dusan through the legs of the defender and into that far corner past the keeper. Deadly finish from Dusan, and Juve lead again. Timber, who's the driving force for Cagliari. Oh, Parisi doesn't get there. What a save. What a save by Costa. Frenkie de Jong. And Duranville ahead of him. And now Matthews in that pocket of space. Bellingham ahead of him. And it's Jude Bellingham, and it's brilliantly tipped over the top. De Jong up to Dusan, and look at the space for Harry Matthews for his first goal. Too easy, a big gap in the heart of the defence, and Harry Matthews repaid the favour by Dusan Vlahovic, and Juve lead by 2, and that should be enough to see us out of here with the 3 points. Dusan to Duranville, and the gap's starting to appear now, and Federico Chiesa, all the time in the world, and Chiesa makes no mistake, his first goal since returning to the club. And the floodgates are opening now. Brilliant way to end today's episode. McKennie does well. Finds Prestiani. Bodies flying forward again for Juve. Chiesa through to Dusan. In behind for the 4th. And Dusan makes no mistake. A clinical finish by the Serbian. And in the second half, Juve have completely run riot. And there is the final whistle, and Juve win by 4-0. And that is exactly the performance that we needed against Claudio Ranieri's side. Really impressed with Dusan Vlahovic up top today, leading the line. And he scored 2 goals, which set us on our way to victory. Alright then guys, that is where we will leave it for today's episode. Much better performances on the field, which has seen us climb into the top 4. And we'll be back in the next episode to kick off our Champions League campaign with Juventus, as well as trying to kick on with the Serie A campaign as well. Unfortunately, there will be no video this Friday as I'm away on holiday, so you will have to wait until Monday for the next episode. Hope you have a good one, guys, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.